The actual age of consent in Islam?
Um, if you're going by Muhammad, it's 9 years old. Uh, I think so. It's just as soon as a girl hits puberty, she's fair game for them.
Because this is a big debate people have. They say that, all them years ago, it was different back then. And so just you confirm as an ex-Muslim, how old was Muhammad? How old was Aisha? They married, then they consummated the marriage 3 years later. To my knowledge, it was 6 when they got married, 9 when the marriage was consummated, and he was in his 50s.
Yeah. So I think so. He was around 55 or something, and she was 6 years old when he married her, and then he consummated the marriage at 9 years old. There's nothing to say that he didn't have his way with her. Maybe not consummated the marriage, but any other sexual acts and stuff. If you're gonna have sex with 9-year-old, you're more likely that you would be having sex with 6-year-old as well. Who knows, right? He's a prophet. Who's gonna argue with him? And plus, I've not heard of many 9 years old having their first period, anyways. So, if they're saying she had a period at 9 years old, maybe it's just so disgusting even to think about it. But the thing is, people say that, it was different back in those days.
Yeah, why
it wasn't.
No, when I hear people argue that it was different back then, I'm thinking, well, actually, it was different back then, and for me it makes it worse because life expectancy was a lot shorter all them thousands of years ago. So the gulf is even bigger between a 9-year-old and a 55-year-old.
Yeah.
So how can that ever be acceptable?
Exactly, that would never have happened.
Why are they justifying it?
Because he's done it. He's done it, it's recorded.
So he can do no wrong, period.
If he does wrong, then Islam is not true. The whole of Islam depends on him narrating the word of God as revealed to him by Gabriel, right? If he's wrong, then the whole of the religion is wrong, right? They wish he hadn't done that. It would be a lot easier for them. But this is how devils are revealed. This is how false prophets are revealed, because they can't help themselves, can they? He already had wives, right? He had like 4 whatever wives at that time when he married that 6-year-old girl. Why did he needed to do it? Why don't people ask that? Why did he needed to marry a 6-year-old? What was the point? He had the pick of the litter. He could marry anyone. The only reason why he would marry it is because he was a sexually depraved person. There was no other reason. So, and it wasn't the norm at that time, because then you would hear all the companions of the Prophet marrying children, right? There is no report of any of the companions of the Prophet marrying a young girl. None of the reports. How odd is that? That you are supposed to follow in the steps of the Prophet. Yeah, you're supposed to follow the Sunnah. Yet none of his companions ever followed in that steps. That means it wasn't the norm.
I've always wondered to myself, why don't moderate, good Muslims just say, when confronted with that story, rather than say, it was different back then, and once a girl turns into a woman by having her first period, why don't they just say, do you know what? I'm Muslim. Muhammad was almost perfect, but with that, I can't get on board with that. Why do they just not say that?
The whole religion falls apart. And you're a munafiq if you say that. You're worse than a munafiq even, and you will be put to death. Because you're saying, like, this is the thing, like, you can't criticize the leader, right? Say he's the day leader and you can't criticize him. The communists, that's why they play that. You can't criticize Stalin, you'll be dead. Because if Stalin is wrong, the whole thing falls apart, right? So, but it's different in communism because it's a political thing, and you can have a different Stalin then, right? And that person can kill him, and that's fine. In religion, he's the last prophet, right, to Islam. If he said this wrong, then what else did he say wrong? How come he's a perfect man then? He's supposed to be the perfect man, and you're supposed to follow his footsteps.
So you're supposed to emulate him?
Exactly.
Is that actually what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, everything that he has done, you do, and you get more, sawab, more from the God, right? And you're more likely to go to heaven if you follow in his footsteps.
And what do Muslims believe happens when they go to heaven? What's all this virgin talk? Is it true?
Yeah, I think it's explained very much in detail. That the things that you get in heaven are very much detailed, right? So it sort of seems like a business bargaining chip. hey, if you do this, we'll give you 70 virgins, right? We'll give you, like, there will be rivers of milk, right? And there will be this, and like, so idea of Switzerland and with a lot of whores, basically, like, so God is bargaining with a man, right? This is why I've always said it's a false ideology, because before Muhammad introduced this idea of 70 virgins after you die as a martyr, especially as a martyr, right? He only had 300 followers, less than 300 followers, barely any, right? The moment that he introduced that idea, his numbers started growing, right? So he had to entice people, and he got like all the criminals and that sort of thing in his regime. So that idea of the heaven is true in their sense. It is a materialistic religion. If it was a spiritual religion, like Christianity is, God would not need to entice you. Your reward is being in His presence. That's your reward. You don't need to entice a Christian with virgins or anything. Not even a gold watch, nothing. Like, he doesn't care. He gets to, go through the golden gates and be with God. So it's deprived of spirituality completely.
So was it Muhammad's idea and instruction that women cover themselves with the burqa? And why?
Everything in Islam is his instruction, right? It's very interesting. If you read Quran, right, obviously it's not in the chronological order, right? But before every surah, sometimes they tell you, if you read the right Quran, that what happened, the events that because of which this surah came in. And you can see, like, there's always a justification. So when he wanted to marry his stepson's wife or something like that, or something of that sort, when he wanted to marry her, lo and behold, a surah came in, right? A revelation came in, which allowed him to do that. Which said, like, if a man, like, divorces his wife, blah, 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 stuff like that, then his father can marry her, like, whatever. Like, the whole surah came in, right? So everything in Quran is a justification of his mental disorder, basically. So he's just justifying every single time.
So how